Are you in charge, Maddie? Okay. Let's begin now.
Okay, so please raise your hand if you're against the distribution of GMOs. Okay, so according to Hawaii Seed, the majority of Hawaiian citizens are in opposition to GMOs. Despite the Hawaiian taboo against GMOs, the scientific community and Hawaiian legislation have not banned GMO testing on the Hawaiian Islands, which has led to social anxiety. A genetically modified organism is an organism whose genetic material has been altered despite using using genetic engineering techniques. Hawaii has become a major GMO testing site due to its tropical climate, which allows crops to grow prosperously. According to a Hawaiian newspaper, GMO companies Monsanto, Syngenta, BASF, Pioneer Hybrid International, and Dow AgroSciences own or lease 50,000 acres of the 365,500 acres of non-state or conservation lands. GMO crops are right along schools and residential areas. Due to misconceptions regarding GMOs, the Hawaiian public has become alarmed by the vast amount of GM crops that have become a part of the Hawaiian landscape. These misconceptions, Hawaiian landscape. These misconceptions primarily revolve around the safety of GMOs for both the human population and wildlife within the environment. The Hawaiian people's social attitudes towards the production of GMOs reflects on food justice. The people in Hawaii have disputes about GMOs, GMO crops, and environmental safety. These disputes result in laws such as Bill 113, which bans GMO crops on the Big Island of Hawaii, which is also the main spot. Pesticides are substances used for destroying insects or other organisms harmful to cultivated plants or animals. Pesticides have active and inert ingredients. Active ingredients are what kill the organism, while inert ingredients increase the productivity of the active ingredients. Corporations utilize pesticides in order to kill pests that consume their crops. These pests, if left unharmed, will consume parts of the corporation's crops, which lowers the overall yield and profit. Pesticides function to maximize profit. Pesticides have been proven to harm both people and the environment. Because they are not specifically designed to kill only one organism, the inert ingredients in pesticides are commonly not tested for safety hazards, which poses great threats to the environment and human health. Malpractice among corporations has been observed within GMO industries. Situations which GMO crops are not effectively constrained and contaminate local farms have allowed corporations to sue local farmers for the illegal cultivation of their patented GMO crop, as displayed in a place at the table. GMO corporations allow their crops to easily contaminate local crops in order to sue local farmers and gain a profit. Malpractice in the form of insufficient safety checks concerning the inert ingredients of pesticides also results in the release of a profitable product that may not otherwise have been released due to health concerns. Though these actions are profitable for GMO corporations, the lack of safety checks pose great health concerns for the Hawaiian population. The lawsuits against local farmers result in major financial losses, which are also detrimental to the financial stability of the Hawaiian citizens. Due to the shared manufacture of pesticides and GMO crops, many Hawaiians believe GMOs are the primary cause of safety hazards in the environment. This is evident in Bill 113, like I said before, passed in 2013, that bans cultivation of GMO crops on the Big Island. So Wakei, Papa, Hanua, and Pele are all major gods within the Hawaiian religion that revolve around the earth and environment. As a result, the Hawaiian culture has grown a significant emphasis on the well-being of their environment and are generally wary of negative environmental issues. According to the Genetic Literacy Project, humans consume between 0.1 and 1 gram of DNA per day from both GMOs and non-GMOs. This DNA is degraded by food processing, and any surviving DNA is then broken down by the digestive system. GM foods do not enter the human cells, despite claims made by adversaries that GMOs can enter human cells. Gene flow is the potential for genes from GM crops to contaminate non-GMO crops. Scientists have been studying ways to reduce this risk with different strategies, such as isolating GM crops from local crops, and the cultivation of GM crops during different seasons. Education is the act of giving intellectual, moral, and social instruction. Education is commonly a key tool in relieving social anxiety that stems from misunderstood topics. Moving from a superstitious and frightened perspective towards a more enlightened, objective view of the world has allowed humanity to advance. Informing the Hawaiian public about the safety of GMOs versus the dangers of pesticides and malpractices within genetic engineering corporations can reform Hawaiian beliefs concerning GMOs, and thus alleviate social unrest. This can be done by means of education through the Farmers Resources Workshops, which are held annually in Hawaii. GMOs are regulated in the United States under the regulation of biotechnology with a focus on the nature of products rather than the process by which they are created. Plant GMOs are regulated by the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service. GMOs in food, drugs, and biological products are regulated by the FDA according to the Library of Congress. The regulation of biotechnology should refocus laws on the process by which pesticides are created, such as intense regulation of inert ingredients in pesticides. The HDOA, Hawaiian Department of Agriculture, may create regulations for extraneous use and sale of pesticides in Hawaii. This will decrease opportunities for malpractice within GE corporations. Educational methods that inform the Hawaiian population of the safety of GMOs, as well as reform laws that restrict the misuse of pesticides, will reduce social tensions in Hawaii regarding the legality of GMOs.
I kind of want to give you two questions. I know that's kind of not fair. Okay. So one question is, you talk about education and more regulation. How confident are you that the solution will work of the Hawaiian government doing some regulation or education changing the problem?
Well, I think that first, if you put in regulations in order to prohibit malpractice among these genetic engineering corporations, that will then stop a lot of the environmental issues, because a lot of it is caused not from the GMs that they're making, or GMOs that they're making, but from the pesticides that they spray on them and a lot of other products that they make. So I think that if first you prohibit those things so that there's less environmental issues, then people will see, okay, there's less environmental issues. And then if you educate the people about the safety of GMOs and the safety hazards of pesticides, then they'll realize, okay, it's not the GMOs that are doing this, it's the pesticides and other things that these corporations are doing.
Okay. And then, sorry to give you a second one, but was there anything in your presentation that you considered taking out? And if so, what was it, and why did you make the decision to leave it in?
Probably, maybe the part about the Hawaiian gods, because a lot of people in Hawaii aren't necessarily that religious, but we thought about taking that out for a little bit, but then we ended up taking it in because we wanted to show that overall the culture is very biased towards the environment, and they're very environmentally friendly, or at least try to be. So we wanted to show at least why that kind of came up and how their ancient religion kind of played into their role in the environment.
Okay.